Now, Donal O'Leary knew the way the lads would think. So, that night, he said to his old mother, Mother, he says, you'll be very cold upstairs tonight. Why don't you come downstairs and sleep by the fire where I normally sleep? And, of course, eager to please their son, like all Irish mothers, she said, oh, of course, son, I'll sleep downstairs, no problem. Now, in the middle of the night, the window opened, and in stepped Hudden, one leg after the other. And then next in came Dudden, and they scanned the room. They looked over by the fireplace, and they seen the blanket on the bed, raising and lowering like that. And they walked over, and they fell on the bed, and they wrung the neck out and twisted it out, and left the poor woman looking like a giraffe. They thought they had killed Donal O'Leary, but it was only at that point they realised they had killed his mother. But not to be deterred, they went searched for the money, but they couldn't find the silver anywhere. And it was then that they heard a snort upstairs. It was Donal stirring in his sleep, and the two lads fled back out the window, empty-handed and furious. Now, when Donal O'Leary woke up the next morning, he went downstairs, expecting that his mother would have the breakfast on. But when there was no smell of breakfast, and he seen his mother still lying in the bed, he walked over and shook his mother. But then he realised she was dead. Oh, my mother's dead, my mother's dead, he said. Oh, my poor mother. Now, I'm not too sure whether he was so disappointed over the death of the mother or the lack of breakfast, but sure, who knows. But as I said before, Donal was a practical man, so he hooched the mother up onto his shoulder. Not an easy task, because she was a stout woman, but off he set for town. Now, when he was halfway there, Donal was erect tired. It was a scorcher of a hot day, and the sweat was dripping off him, and he spotted a bar by the side of the road. Now, Donal liked to drink, so he looked across the road. There was a well. He thought a perfect spot for the mother. He brought the mother over, dropped her over the well with her arms hanging over like that, as if she was having a drink. And Donal went to the bar and called a drink for himself. But when the woman behind the bar looked across the road and she seen the old woman at the well, she said to Donal, who's that old woman by the well over there? Ah, don't worry, said Donal, that's only my old mother. She's having a drink over there. It's a hot day, leave her out there. Oh, says the woman, you couldn't be leaving her out there on a hot day to drink water. Bring her in here for something stronger. Ah, leave her, Donal said, leave her. But the woman behind the bar called out to the young barmaid outside and said, Mary, would you get that old woman and bring her in here? And that's what Mary did. She walked over and she said, Ma'am, would you mind coming into the bar? Did she get a reply? Sure, how could she get a reply? The woman was dead. She walked over and she shook the woman by the shoulder, but as she did, the woman fell head over heels into the well. Splash! The young girl ran screaming into the bar. Oh, the woman's gone falling into the well. What am I going to do? Now, as I told you before, Donal was an intelligent man. He jumped up, shocked. What? My mother in the well? You've killed my mother? And Donal ran outside. He ran over to the well. He tried to pull his mother out. He struggled. She was a big stout woman, remember, and it took him a while to get her out, but eventually he got her out. But when they got her on the ground, of course, she was dead. Oh my God, you've killed my mother. You've killed my mother. How could you kill my mother? Donal roared. And of course, this created a commotion. Everybody started to gather around from the local area. Now, the woman behind the bar began to get scared. She said to Donal, here, shush, shush, you'll get us all in trouble. The police will come, they'll want to question us all. Come here, we'll do something for you. Oh, what could you do for me? He says, what could you do? You've killed my mother. Now, the woman turned to Donal and she said, well, I'll send around the purse and we'll bury your mother for you. So that's what she did. She sent the purse around, and by the time the purse got back to Donal, it was full of gold. She said, would you accept this, sir, as a token of our sorrow? Oh, said Donal, it's not the best, but it's the next best thing, I suppose. Will you bury her as well? Oh, we will, they said, stranger, we will. We'll bury her in a nice quiet place. So, off Donal sets home. And of course, by the time he got back to the yard, who's waiting there to sneer and leer? Only Hudden and Dudden. But when Donal got to the gate and they seen the big purse full of gold, They turned to, where in the name of God did you get that money, O'Leary? Oh, lads, he says, do you know what? You're the best of friends. By killing that old woman last night, you done me the biggest favour. I took her into town and I sold her for an old mattress. They're looking for old women in town for mattresses, to make mattresses out of them. And this is what I got for my old mother. Thanks very much, lads. Yous are the best of friends. And off O'Leary trots into his house. Of course, what do the idiots Hudden and Dudden only do? They went home, they killed their own mothers, and they hoofed them up onto their back and brought them into town. Now, when the two lads get into town, they walked up the main street shouting, "Who'll buy these old women for mattresses? Who'll buy these old women for mattresses?" Of course, the townspeople gathered round, wondering what was going on with these two crazy people. The young kids of the town started picking up horse dung and throwing it at Hudden and Dudden. It was at that point that the two boys knew they had been tricked again. "Ah, damn that Donal O'Leary," they says. The two men went home, buried their mothers, and set a plan in action to kill Donal O'Leary. This was too much for them. They called over to Donal O'Leary's house. There was a struggle at the door, but eventually they overpowered Donal O'Leary and put him in a big black sack and tied it up. Ha! They threw it up on their back. "Into the river you're going tonight, O'Leary," they says. And they set off towards the river. Now, when they were halfway there, what do you think ran across the road in front of them? Only a three-legged rabbit. Now Hudden turns to Dudden. "Hey, Hudden. Hey, Dudden. Did you see that? A three-legged rabbit. Jesus, he'd make fine stew and he'd be quite easy to catch as well." "Oh," said Dudden. "What about O'Leary?" "Leave him here," said Hudden. "He'd be fine. He's in the bag. We'll go catch the rabbit." So that's what they did. They put the bag down and off they trot across to the next field, chasing after the rabbit. Now just at that point, there was a farmer walking up the road with 6 prize Kerry cattle. And when he arrived by the bag with Donal O'Leary inside, he could hear somebody singing inside. "Oh, I'm off my way to heaven today. I'm on my way to heaven." The farmer poked the bag. "Hey, you in there! What are you singing about?" And Donal started the song again. "I'm on my way to heaven today. I'm on my way to heaven." "Are you really?" said the farmer. Are you really going to heaven?" "I am," said Donal. "I've been waiting all my life for this sack, and now that I've got it on this fine day, I can't wait to go to heaven." "Oh," said the farmer. "Oh, I've been walking the streets of Ireland, herding cows all my life. Oh, would you let me into that old sack with you to go to heaven?" "Oh, no," said Donal O'Leary. "You know the rule, 1 sack, 1 man. I'm on my way to heaven." "Oh," said the old man, "for the love of Christianity, please let me in that sack." "Oh," said Donal, what would you give me if I let you in?" The old man says, "Well, all I have are these 6 fine Kerry cattle here." "Oh," said Donal, "let me out and I'll take a look." And the old man undid the bag, and out pops Donal O'Leary, and he looks at the cattle and he says, "Maybe I could make a good living out of them. Okay, I'll do you a deal. Fair play to you." And the old farmer hopped into the sack, and Donal O'Leary tied it up. And sure, wasn't Donal only around the first bend in the road when who comes trotting back across the field with the rabbit by the ears? Only Hudden and Dudden. They picked up the bag, they walked towards the river, and with a big whoosh, whoosh, in went the old farmer. But the boys thought it was Donal O'Leary. Now, of course, when the two men got back to the farmyard, who was lying there on a patch of grass with a piece of grass in his mouth and his 6 prize Kerry cattle behind him, only Donal O'Leary. Now, of course, when the lads seen him, they thought they were seeing a ghost. Oh Jesus, are you real or are you a ghost?" they shouted to Donal. Donal says, "I'm real, of course, lads. I tell you what, lads, fair play to you. You done me the biggest favour there today, because when you thrown me in that river, as soon as I got to the bottom and got out of that old bag, I was surrounded by herds of cattle at the bottom of the river. This is all I could take with me, 6 of them, but I think I'm going to go back there now and get some more." Oh, we'll come with you," says Hudden. "We'll come as well," said Dudden. "Oh no, lads, I'm fine by myself." "Oh no, we're coming with you," the two lads said. And they did. They followed Donal O'Leary up the road. Now, when they got to the river, Donal picked up a stone and he threw it in at the deepest spot. "That's the spot, lads. That's exactly where them cattle are. Now, stand back. I'm gonna jump in." You will not," says Hudden. "Get out of my way. I'll get in there before you." Ha ha. And he pushed Donal O'Leary out of the way, took a big leap and splash into the river. And straight to the bottom he went, because Hudden couldn't swim. Now, after about 30 seconds, he floated back to the top, and it was a with the arms waving, and he was flapping everywhere. "What's he saying?" said Dudden to O'Leary. "Oh, he's saying there's too many cattle down there. He needs some help. Stand back, I'm gonna go in with him." "You will not," said Dudden. "Get out of my way." And Dudden pushed O'Leary out of the way, and with one big leap splashed into the river. Now, of course, he sunk to the bottom with his old pal Hudden, and the two men were never seen again. Now, when Donal O'Leary went back to his yard that night, it wasn't one farm he had anymore, but three.